of a sudden, more games mean something. And I think conversely, it fails to water down the regular season as much as enhance the opportunity that you can get into the college football playoff late. If there are 8 spots available, there are probably 12, maybe 13 or 14 teams that are playing in the final couple of weeks of the season, maybe more, depending on what the year looks like, that are fighting to get into the playoff. Currently, when there are just 4 teams in, if you're that far down the list, there's probably nothing you can do over the final couple of weeks to get in. So to me, that makes it more exciting for more people across the country. It makes it exciting for the fans who are potentially on one of those 15 or so teams trying to get in to that top 8 or whatever the playoff goes to at some point. And it also makes it more fun for those teams that know that if they beat that team, they are possibly keeping them out of getting into the college football playoff. Had you had a scenario this year in the college football playoff where there were 8 teams in, your opening round matchups would have looked like this. Number 1 Alabama would have taken on number 8 Ole Miss. The winner of that game, who, again, I think most would have assumed would have been Alabama, would have taken on the winner of Cincinnati and Notre Dame. And there is a distinct possibility that Notre Dame wins that game, unlike what happened earlier in the season. They get a chance for revenge. That's an intriguing game to watch because Cincinnati gets a chance to prove themselves worthy, and Notre Dame gets a chance to say, hey, look, that was a one-off. So either way, whoever you pick doesn't matter to me. Michigan would have taken on Ohio State. Now, look, we watched Ohio State, 2 nights ago. And that was not the best defensive football I've ever seen going up against Utah, but they found a way to win. Could Michigan prove themselves worthy? I don't know. I'll take Ohio State. I would say that Chris Olave plays and Ohio State advances. Then you got Georgia and Baylor. And Baylor certainly was interesting. 21-7, the final score in their victory over Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. Maybe they make a run at Georgia. Who knows? But I would say it's probably Georgia there. And then, look, you got, let's say, Bama Notre Dame or Bama Cincinnati. That's similar to what you already saw, but at least you had a chance. And this year, the numbers kind of work out where maybe you didn't, quote, trim the fat. But at least you give those teams a chance to prove it. And who knows? Maybe Ole Miss shocks the world. Get your popcorn ready with Lane Kiffin. Maybe, and that to me is where you begin to create compelling matchups, is where the things you don't expect to happen begin to happen, and you get tighter games and trimmed out some of the fat. It doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect, but now there are more bowl games that are important and significant, and I think it makes the regular season better, and there's potential to create more drama in the playoffs. We'll hit a break. Stay with us for more of the show that shakes the Southland.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic types include Lake Drive at Bluefield Road, also a wreck on Longs Pond Road near the I-20 eastbound on-ramp. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line numbers 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
At Churches, we're doing 10 pieces of our crave-worthy comfort made spicy or classic. That's 10 legs and thighs packed with bold flavor. That's how we do value. So you can do the Churches 10 starting at $10.99 deal. Churches, bringing a down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
If you suffer from erectile dysfunction or ED, we know what your New Year's resolution is. Peak Performance for Men knows that 90% of ED cases are caused by old, broken down blood vessels. Medication may offer a temporary cure for the symptom, but Peak Performance for Men uses focused linear compression therapy to treat the cause. Focused linear compression therapy is a scientifically proven, non-invasive treatment that uses pulsed energy waves to open and repair aging blood vessels, increasing blood flow and stimulating stem cell growth, which in turn improves sexual performance. There's no drugs, pumps, needles, surgery, or pain, so there's no side effects or downtime. Over 80% of men who receive the treatment have long-term improvement in male performance, which means peak performance for men can make that New Year's resolution come true. Let the experts help you today. They're offering a free consultation and ultrasound, so why wait? Call 803-302-8181 or visit peakperformanceformen.com.
Reach your 2022 workout goals with Carolina Specialty Fitness. We have the largest selection of ellipticals, treadmills, exercise bikes, home gym systems, and more from premium brands like Life Fitness, Matrix Fitness, Hoist Fitness, and Landice. Carolina Specialty Fitness has shipments arriving daily, so you can find the perfect equipment for you and your budget. Reach your New Year's goals today. Step up your workout game with Carolina Specialty Fitness. Go to carolinaspecialtyfitness.com.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your dog to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health, Kids, and the Ad Council.
Rocking and rolling along with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Lawton Swan with you here again. Back to the college football playoff conceptual design, whatever you want to call it. I mean, for those people, and this is the thing, I know I'm going to hear from a lot of you, and I'll go ahead and give you the number right now. So I'll say it slow enough to give you time enough to chime in. 803-450-0086. Because some of you are going to hate that take. You can call in, leave me a message. We'll get it on the air as well. Do you believe, and this is the other thing that I think you honestly have to ask yourself. Okay? This is what I want you to consider for a minute. Do the playoffs in the NFL work in your mind? Do the playoffs in the NFL work? And if you buy into and say, yes, Swanny, you know what? It always works. Then why would that be different collegiately? Now, look, there is some structure to the way the NFL works by virtue of, you watch Cincinnati just a couple of years after drafting Joe Burrow, then winning their division, the AFC North. Like, that's a big deal. And the reason that they are able to win the AFC North a couple of years after drafting Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and the laundry list of guys that they've got there, Jamar Chase, the reason that they can do that is the draft enables the teams at the bottom, a la the Jacksonville Jaguars, to get the best player. Now, college is a little different, right? Not only can Nick Saban go win another national title? But he's going to have one of the top recruiting classes in the country, and there's nothing stopping you from getting the best player coming out of high school, the second best, third best. You can get the top 5 guys coming out of high school. Doesn't mean they're all going to develop, but you got a great chance of having a great team by landing the top prospects. And so the college football model is built that the best get better. And the pro football model is that the worst should have a chance to catch up and be better. Now, if we talk about the playoffs and how it works in the NFL, the great thing that it creates is a scenario where teams can get into the playoff, but they get cut out because they may not have been as good as some of the others around them. What if the NFL every year, honest to goodness, just had a poll? Because this is what people want to return to in college. Instead of expanding, people want to return to a situation where a computer or a group of people tells you who are the best 2 teams in the country, who they are, and let's have them play. Well, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a better ball game. It doesn't guarantee that it's even going to be more compelling in the season for anybody. The larger playoff and a playoff set up similarly to the NFL. Look, the NFL does some things with reseeding as well. Like, they understand that to try to deliver the best matchups in a playoff is the goal. And a 2-team battle for the national championship based off of a computer or some guys in a room in Grapevine, Texas, some people in a room in Grapevine, Texas, coming up with who the top 2 teams are, to me, doesn't make sense. Now, I know your fear is, well, what will Alabama do in that opening game against Ole Miss? Well, I don't know. I can make the argument it might be more competitive than what you just saw with Alabama and Cincinnati. It might not be, but it may be. And then the second round game for the Crimson Tide may or may not be against Cincinnati. Might be against Notre Dame. It may just maybe, because that game's a week later instead of a month later. Alabama has some guys that aren't quite as fresh or as healed, and they get upset. And then what do you know? You got Notre Dame or Cincinnati waiting on Michigan, or State, Georgia, Baylor, whatever you think happens on the other side. That, to me, creates a more intriguing result. Now, could you end up with Georgia and Alabama? Yeah, you could, and you might. But at least in that scenario, to me, you've enhanced the regular season by allowing more teams to be involved, possibly getting into this 18 playoff later in the year. You've also opened up the opportunity for an upset here or there in this playoff that could create a better matchup in the semifinals, which is also, ironically, if you think about the NFL, a lot of you probably don't even watch the wild card game. And some of you are going to say, oh my goodness, well, what do you say, Sonny? A lot of people aren't going to watch Notre Dame and Cincinnati or Georgia and Baylor. Maybe not. Maybe that's a game you choose to skip when you got this bigger playoff. But that's okay. Those fans of those teams will be invested. There will be other people that will be invested. The goal is that when you get to the final 4 teams remaining or the final 2 teams remaining, that we have given ample opportunity for the game to play itself into existence instead of having it handpicked by people in a room. You've allowed the course of the game, the scenarios that take place to happen out on the field. And I think over over a number of years, that would create better games in the latter stages of the playoff. And one final thing on this front. If you are against players opting out, think about the players, Olave, that opted out. I mean, this creates a scenario where 8 teams will at least be full board. Nobody's opting out. They're all going to be there. That's my thoughts on it. Tell me your thoughts. 803-450-0086. When we come back, we'll give you the rundown of all of the college football bowl games that took place over the weekend right after this.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. The education assistance I received made it possible for me to be the first person in my family to go to school and graduate debt-free. That education helped get me to the first day at my dream job, a job that I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job, plus the other benefits possible from the Army National Guard, helped me become a first-time homeowner. Also, part of my role as a National Guard soldier means I know that I can be one of the first to respond and help my community if disaster ever strikes. I'm extremely proud to get to serve my community. And that first step I took by joining the Army National Guard has made all the difference in my life. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com to find out what firsts are available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the South Carolina Army National Guard, aired by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced clean of Zero Res. Take advantage of their New Year's sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention this station, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Now the forecast from the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. TheRedShirtGuys.com. Clear skies tonight, a low in the lower 30s, partly cloudy skies tomorrow, a high in the upper 50s. In the 103.5 FM WVOC Weather Center, I'm Rob Sanders.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
We will never fully understand what we've asked military service members of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Broadcasting from the TrueCar.com studios. This is Columbia's Fox Sports Radio, 1400.
It is all set 1 week from yesterday, the national championship, an all SEC affair, Georgia and Alabama. We'll have a lot of that coming up for you here on the program. Also, the changes up in Tigertown. Todd Bates headed out to Oklahoma. KJ Henry going to return for another year in Clemson. 803-450-0086. We've given you a number of scenarios to digest as it pertains to the college football playoff. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Again, it is my belief that an expanded playoff would more often than not deliver more compelling semifinals and possibly even better national championship games. I have very little college football data to back that up, but I have the NFL model to lean in on. And they do some reseeding, and I'm not necessarily a proponent of that for this scenario, but if it felt like that was something that could make these games more compelling and better for everybody, then sure, we could do some reseeding. And maybe that takes a couple of years of data points, et cetera, to make us, know or feel a certain way about it, if you will. The college football games over the weekend, Wake Forest knocked off Rutgers 38-10 in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl on Friday. Then in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, it was Central Michigan downing Washington State 24-21. In the college football playoff Cotton Bowl semifinal game, Alabama beat Cincinnati 27-6. And then in the Capital One Orange Bowl, it was the Georgia Bulldogs 34 and the Michigan Wolverines 11. On Saturday, you had your New Year's Day games. The Outback Bowl featured Arkansas and Penn State. The Razorbacks with a 24-10 victory in the VRBO Citrus Bowl. It was Kentucky, the 22nd ranked Wildcats, knocking off the 15th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes 20-17. The Fiesta Bowl featured Oklahoma State in a comeback victory over Notre Dame 37-35. Notre Dame's streak of not winning a top-tier bowl game continues. I think, what are they at, like 9 attempts to win one of the Big Six, and they have not been able to do it. The Rose Bowl was a matchup between Ohio State and Utah. The Buckeyes come storming back to knock off the Utes 48-45. And then in the Sugar Bowl on Saturday evening, it was Baylor 21-7 over Ole Miss. Matt Corral got injured, the quarterback for the Rebels, and Baylor actually had a pick six in that ball game that would help them on to their victory 21-7 at the Sugar Bowl. Coming tonight, it'll be the Tax Act Texas Bowl, LSU and Kansas State facing off. That's a 9 o'clock kickoff. And then next Monday, Alabama and Georgia, 8 o'clock on ESPN, the national championship of the 21 season gets going at 8 o'clock next Monday night. Alabama again in Georgia. So one other thing that I think has had a negative effect on this college football playoff experience for a lot of people, the viewers at least, is the fact that the Rose Bowl, of course, refused to not be played on New Year's Day, which meant that the college football playoff, for whatever scenario that they have, play these games on the 31st when the Rose Bowl is not involved. And to me, that is a bad look, because January 1st, in my belief, should always be reserved for the college football playoff. And I just think, look, if the Rose Bowl's deal is that they got to be played on January 1st, and I know they've got their, Tournament of Roses parade and all of that takes place, and that game is typically one of the games in the afternoon because of its geography. Just say, hey, guys, look, You can play on the 1st if you want to, but you're going to play at 11 o'clock. West Coast, well, Eastern time. Excuse me. Yeah, you guys are playing at 8 a.m. No, make a play at 11 o'clock. Make them be the first game and just have those games. It would, so for example, January 1st this year would have been the Rose Bowl being played at 11 a.m. If they don't like it, hey, you can go head to head with one of the playoff games. Put them at 11 a.m. and then have the playoff games kick off at 3:30 and 7:30 or whatever time they kicked off. And just move the other games to the 31st. There's nothing less exciting than walking into that January 1st knowing that the firework, like it's like putting, honestly, even if these games haven't been great, it's like putting the grand finale first at the fireworks show. That doesn't make sense. The old say, save the best for last. And look, hey, Rose Bowl, if you think you're so great, if you think you're so special, then guess what? You can stay on January the 1st, but you're going to play at a cruddy time slot. And just push them. Make them do it. Because to me, it felt like a bit of a letdown. January 1st in the Rose Bowl, that whole day felt like a letdown. By not allowing the college football playoff games to be played on January the 1st and to be the nightcap, the afternoon, the finale, the Rose Bowl diminishes itself. The Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, those games are diminished by that fact, in my opinion. 803-450-0086. Final segment of hour number 1 coming up here on the show that shakes the Southland right after this. Stay with us for more Clemson Sports Talk on Fox Sports Radio 1400 and heard around the world on the iHeart Radio application.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
By popular demand, Great Southern Homes now lists their coming soon communities online. Whether you're looking for a new home in your hometown, moving to a new town, or just want your pick of choice lots, this is the place to start. Great Southern Homes invites you to put the wow in your new home with options and upgrades. Live green, live smart in your new green smart home. Show your style and personalize your new home with options and upgrades from Great Southern Homes. Find your dream home today, GreatSouthernHomes.com.
Way back when, Columbia was a vast dining desert, a wasteland for fast, fresh, authentic Southwestern food. Weren't nothing bundled up nice and warm in a tortilla. Columbia needed Diablos. Southwestern the way you want it, the real deal, with no shortcuts in quality and served up as fast and fresh as you want it. Diablo Southwest Grill, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. DiabloSouthwestGrill.com.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home to get cash out for a renovation or to pay off debt? Save money with a cash out refinance from Cap Center.
We just helped a client who's a professional chef finance his dream kitchen. By avoiding typical closing costs, he had even more money for his vision.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget. unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
That's the sound of your KFC chicken sandwich order. That's what happens next. Your chicken is Kentucky Fried to order. And that's the sound of your chicken being put on a brioche bun. Brioche buns don't make a lot of noise. Then we add sauce and pickles and serve your sandwich to you piping hot. Order the KFC chicken sandwich. It's Kentucky Fried to order on the KFC app or at KFC.com. At participating locations, prices may vary.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind-body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated. With dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump-up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart radio station.
Final segment of hour number one here on a Tuesday afternoon after the heels of the college football playoff not delivering this weekend. But, you know, when you realize you got 35 weeks until Clemson kicks off over in Atlanta, their first trip into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium there in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech in the season opener, it kind of puts it into perspective how good it was to watch college football one final time. And I said, I guess at some point last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, the thing about this for me that I think is so good, or at least made it better, was the fact that because of COVID-19, you still had some games being pulled off of the books. And so consequently, when you did get games, you were excited. And while I thought the only way Cincinnati was going to win playoffs was if they got some kind of double COVID-19 forfeit from Alabama and then whoever they would have been playing in the national championship game, to have those games, even though they were blowouts, still to me was exciting. And, with just a couple of games left, tomorrow night's matchup between LSU and Kansas State at 9 o'clock, and then the national championship game. And look, don't forget, the national championship game is not completely there's still enough time that COVID-19 could play a factor and we could have a forfeit. But when I think about having to wait until that matchup in September against Georgia Tech to see Clemson on the gridiron again, it's like, oof, that's like a gut punch. 9 months. All that being said, the other thing I didn't even bring up earlier, and you probably don't want me to bring it up, but I will. DK, Darion Kendrick, the former Clemson Tiger cornerback who got kicked off of the team, then was arrested, and then ended up playing or getting his another opportunity there with the Georgia Bulldogs. Darion Kendrick with 2 interceptions in Georgia's victory over Michigan, and additionally was named the defensive MVP. So DK will get another shot at a national championship when the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Alabama Crimson Tide next Monday. As for Clemson, speaking of cornerbacks, as we mentioned last week, Mario Goodrich put out a statement about his moving forward to the NFL. And from Clemson's standpoint, Goodrich, just a phenomenal story when you talk about, and Dabo Swanny mentioned this as well, sticking it out, staying the course, and then getting a chance to really getting a chance to show out on the gridiron. And so good for him, man. He played so well all year long, and it was a bright spot for a bright defense. You know, when the offense struggled this year, the defense seemed to always be there for the Clemson Tigers. And Mario Goodrich, not saying he's not somebody that people talked about or discussed, but honest to goodness, his name wasn't mentioned a whole lot in the preseason. And by the end of the year, you couldn't help but watch him play the game because he was just playing at a high level. And speaking of a high level, how about at another level, at least Hunter Renfrow, the former Clemson Tiger wide receiver, showing out for the Las Vegas Raiders. Renfrow had 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown in the Raiders' victory over the Indianapolis Colts. He should have had or could have had another touchdown in that game, as his foot was just touched in what would have been almost essentially a walk-off winner. Hunter Renfrow, just incredible in the in the punt return game. 98 catches, 1,025 yards, 7 touchdowns this year. And again, there was that one big play late. We retweeted it where they said he was down. It was close. I actually had somebody hit me up and say, yeah, he just touched his shoe. And that was what was considered down by contact. But here's Hunter Renfrow after the Raiders' victory over the Indianapolis Colts.
Raiders wide out, Hunter Renfrow. Wow. An absolute stunner. People have been writing you guys off all year, Hunter. What does this performance say?
All it means is we got to win next week against the Chargers. We win, we get in, and today we had to win today and next week to get in. So we took care of it, and we want to know this week.
How about that touchdown to start off the fourth quarter to really go ahead at that time, and then the big play that set up the field goal?
Derek did a good job of scrambling and finding me, and I'd like to think all our Xbox chemistry came into play there.
Xbox chemistry. How much do you guys play?
We play in the offseason a good bit.
What have you learned about this team, understanding you had to win this game and the Chargers next week?
Just the character, and I really knew that all along, but it's one thing to go show it, and we showed it today down the stretch, being down in the fourth quarter, and it was awesome to see us come through.
You're such a humble guy, Hunter. You're in elite territory, though. Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, 90-plus catches this year as a Raider.
Yeah, they're two of the greatest, You look up to them and you grow up trying to be like them in the backyard. And so just to be mentioned with those guys is a true honor.
Honestly, just an unbelievable season. And I think for anybody that second guessed or thought that what you saw from Hunter Renfrow at Clemson was like a fluke, man, you just know. You just know when you watch him play, he's one of the better route runners in the NFL. He is a guy that is easily overlooked. And look, I mean, could his career fall off next year and then never have another big season like this? Yeah, it could. But you feel like the work ethic, the intestinal fortitude, the fact that so many people have kind of looked at him and judged him and denied him, I think pushes him. And so there's no reason to think that Hunter Renfrow at some point in his career, won't make the Pro Bowl or be an all-pro player. I mean, I think he's got that kind of potential with the right team and the fit around him to pull that off. And people probably would have laughed at that statement months ago. Instead, he's one of 3 Clemson players with over 1,000 yards receiving this season, along with Mike Williams and T. Higgins in the NFL. Hour number 2, we'll talk a lot about everything going on at the Tiger Town with William Qualkenbush right after this.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic types include Lake Drive at Bluefield Road, also wreck on Longs Pond Road near the I-20 eastbound on-ramp. For 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line numbers 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Lawton Swan here. And I know in sports, we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Hi, this is John Farley. For the past 12 years, you've seen me on TV. But before becoming a meteorologist, my first degree was actually in finance. My parents, like a lot of people, didn't know much about the financial world. As a result, they got exploited by some not-so-honest folks. That's why finance has always been a passion of mine. And for the last 6 years, I've been working with the team at Preservation Specialists to help people just like you plan for your retirement. What I love about Preservation Specialists is that we are locally owned and fiercely independent. That means we simply work for you. If that's what you want in a financial advisor, then give us a call now at 803-9-RETIRE. That's 803-9-RETIRE. Don't make the same mistakes my parents did. Work with an advisor who can help get you to and through retirement successfully. 803-9-RETIRE.
Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital, Inc.
Let me tell you about the fine folks over at General Dentistry of Lexington. Dr. Bennett Hammett and Dr. Rick Jackson can take care of all your dental needs. With TVs and headphones in every room, digital x-rays done in a flash, you can relax while their wonderful staff takes care of all your dental needs. 803-957-2297. Tell them you heard about them right here on the show that shakes the Southland and get $50 off your first visit. That's General Dentistry of Lexington, located at 109 Timber Mill Drive, right off of Highway 1.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today, I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear, jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of one of our state's real jewels, the Federation Center of the Blind, which is affiliated with the National Federation of the Blind of South Carolina. The center provides such key services as virtual and in-house computer training, job coaching, Braille instruction, and much more. We invite you to join us by calling 803-254-3777 or by emailing nfbsc@sc.rr.com.
WCOS Columbia, Fox Sports Radio 1400, an iHeart radio station available everywhere on our free iHeart Radio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanny.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's Drive Time right here on the show that shakes the Southland on a Tuesday afternoon. William Qualkenbush joins the program. A little out of the ordinary. He's typically here with us on a Monday, but we wanted to connect with him today off of the heels of the weekend of the college football playoff, plus changes on Clemson's staff that we haven't got into really in the show today, and certainly want to get into that with Qualt. Qualt, man, hope you're doing well. Welcome in on a Tuesday afternoon.
Swanny, it's good to be with you as always. Hope you had a good new year, and excited to talk about some craziness here because that's really all it's been since the calendar flipped, right?
It really had. Well, even before that, with Brent Venables going out to Oklahoma and some stuff that came out yesterday about Oklahoma with Caleb Williams. We haven't even gotten into that here on the program today, but let's start with the news that does involve the Oklahoma Sooners and Clemson assistant head coach, recruiting coordinator, defensive line coach, Todd Bates going out to Oklahoma Boomer Sooner to join Brent Venables, Miguel Chavis, and others out that way. Ted Roof, he's going to be the co-defensive coordinator for the Sooners, according to multiple reports. Quack, how surprised were you at this news coming out on Monday afternoon?
Well, I was very surprised because, we kind of thought that ship had sailed. There was a lot of, and I tried to remind people of this over the last couple of days. Keep in mind that we sort of assumed in a worst case scenario that Mike Reed and Todd Bates were out the door with Venables anyway. So Clemson's going to have to, retool the entire staff. And now you may see some of that where, Bates leaves. You don't know how many players follow. It was interesting that they coupled that news with the news that KJ Henry was coming back. That's in my opinion, an unexpected addition for 2022. So
Sure.
that was nice to see. But here's the thing, Todd Bates, he did a good job here. A recruit of the year, I think by one service in 2019, semifinals for D-line coach of the year. He and Lemansky Hall back in 2020. Guy's track record speaks for himself. And a very good recruiter, great relationship with with a lot of the players on the team, in particular in his position group, did a good job recruiting the state of Alabama for Clemson. I don't think there's any question about that. Dabo Swinney found him, and I remember having to tell people and having to plead with people that he was a good hire when the hire was made. Some people never bought in entirely, and there are some people that probably are more concerned about the general track record than they are just losing him. I think it's a big loss on the recruiting trail. I really do, because of the way he was able to get in the door with guys and sort of, kick the can down the road, so to speak, where you get to the end of the game with some really, really good players and give them a decision to make. Obviously, this cycle wasn't great for Clemson in defensive tackle and in the defensive line. And I think that probably is how we'll remember him to some degree, but that's not entirely fair because Clemson did a lot of good things when he was here. And I think Oklahoma will continue to do that because I think he's a good coach who relates well to players and knows how to coach them up, for lack of a better term.
Again, follow William Qualkenbush on Twitter at Qualt Talk. And so, Qualt, with that news for the Clemson Tiger fan who gets apprehensive or concerned at any shakeup of the coaching staff, where should they be at this point? Because if you go back to the end of the Cheez-It Bowl just a few short days ago, Dabo Swinney was asked to elaborate on the state of his program, and he laid it all out there. He talked about the young defensive line. I mean, what do you say to the fan that says, "Hey, Qualt, man, I'm very concerned about what's going on in Tiger Town"?
I mean, to be quite honest, I don't really have anything to tell you. I would just say, wait and see who Dabo brings in. I mean, I made the argument today, and it's a little bit of a weird argument, but Nick Saban has catastrophic losses every year for his program, right? And the only way they're not catastrophic is that he replaces them with really good coaches. That happens everywhere. I mean, point blank, you lose players, you got to replace them. You lose coaches, you got to replace them. That's the name of the game. So I don't mind for anyone, or I don't really mind anyone that is apprehensive and remains so after it seemed like a lot of this storm had been weathered and maybe the leaks that were in the foundation have been patched. I really don't mind anybody going back to that state or maintaining that state or what have you. The only thing I would say is let's just see who Dabo hires. Let's see what happens. I mean, Wes Goodwin was met with a lot of skepticism. Did pretty well. His first audition calling plays. And nobody left. No players left. Everybody thought there'd be a mass exodus. And you know what? If the players didn't believe in that hire, there would have been. Make no mistake. There's nothing keeping these kids here if they want to leave. So I'm of the opinion that the players will tell us if, the replacement valid or not, or, whatever the case may be. But I would say, based on the way that everyone thought the sky would continue to fall out and it didn't after the Goodwin and Kahn promotions, we have to wait and see what the fallout is after this, because ultimately Todd Bates' successor is not going to be defined by what he does in February or March or April. It's going to be some years down the road before we're able to say whether Todd Bates' replacement did what Bates did and replacing Marion Hobby as the defensive tackles coach a few years ago.
Okay, so I've got a question on that front. If Todd Bates's title is co-defensive coordinator at today's date, Qualk, is he still at Clemson?
Probably. I think so. I mean, doesn't it seem like that's the thing he's getting at Oklahoma is the co-defensive coordinator? So I don't know what his pay is. They may be paying, I don't know, $900,000 when he was getting $715. Maybe it's a significant pay bump, and that's a big deal to people. I don't know, but it appears to me that co-defensive coordinator title or a defensive coordinator title was something that he really, really wanted. And so I would say that was a big part of the decision making there.
Follow Qualk on Twitter again, at Qualk Talk, and you can listen to him each and every afternoon from noon until 3 o'clock. Alabama's with Qualk and Kelly, 105.5 The Roar in the upstate. All right, let's talk a little bit more. We'll shift gears just a little bit here, Qualk. You mentioned Wes Goodwin. I said the same thing off of the heels of Clemson's victory over Iowa State. I mean, I thought, it's one brick, but it was a positive brick, right? Like, one brick doesn't make a house, but it looks like things are going well thus far for a guy that's never called a game, with what you might label, quote, live bullets.
Yeah, it was a very good audition. No question. And I thought Brandon Streeter, I thought the audition for Brandon Streeter, I know it wasn't his first rodeo, certainly far from it, but I thought he acquitted himself well too as play callers in a difficult game against a tough team that, they weren't, they didn't have some of their good players, but, neither did Clemson. Neither team, I think, was fully at 100%. And Iowa State, defensively, going to make it tough. I mean, look, it's weird to say, but we know Iowa State's 3-3-5 stack. Brent Venables took a lot of stuff from them and borrowed and stole and whatever, adopted a lot of stuff that they do. And so it was going to be a defensive struggle. There's no question, particularly the way that Clemson was required to move the ball later on the season. And, props to that defense for holding Iowa State down, just 13 points. If you give up a couple of touchdowns, if you have some bad calls, if you're not in the right alignment, if there's some confusion, a lack of communication, you're going to get your butt beat. And they didn't. And, I do think there's still some questions maybe about recruiting trail. There's some questions about how do you replace the force of Brent Venables out there with high school juniors and seniors trying to recruit them in. But from a game planning standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, in the game, I don't think Clemson's going to miss much with Wes Goodwin. And that's not a knock on Venables, but it is to say that that's the type of reputation that Goodwin has, and that's what he showed us. Honestly, if you didn't know or if you weren't paying attention, did you even remember that Brent Venables wasn't calling defense? Because it didn't seem that different, and it seemed pretty effective. So I think that's probably a feather in Wes Goodwin's cap in game number one.
Wes Goodwin finally, to me, looked comfortable. Like he didn't look comfortable at the recruiting, the National Signing Day on the, talking with Don Munson. He didn't look comfortable to me in any opportunities where there was media availability before, after, during. He looked great on the sidelines. Looked like he was having a lot of fun. I thought, man, I think he's found his niche, if you will, and it might be just being a defensive coordinator. We'll see how it goes next year as Clemson kicks things off over in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Qualk, college football is different, right? NIL, everything. But yesterday's news that Caleb Williams, star quarterback at Oklahoma, was putting his hat into the transfer portal to be able to evaluate, who can best put him in the best scenario, which to me sounds like NIL and so on and so forth. Maybe not as much as your quarterback stature for the next level. Maybe that's a part of it. What are we doing, Qualk? I mean, what's happening to the sport that you and I love so much?
Well, I think a couple things. First of all, this is what everyone wanted who said that players should be paid what they're worth. I think the idea was that you would get paid what you're worth at your current school, but there was nothing to keep the player from saying, somebody make me an offer I can't refuse. And there's nothing to keep coaches from looking at players on other rosters and saying, you know what, you can do pretty well with, old Dodge dealership over here, or, our top donor owns X Fortune 500 company, or whatever the case may be. There was no stopping it. This was always going to happen. It's unfortunate because it's not, honestly, it's not the caliber of decision. And I'm envious because I would have loved to have, some a lot more extra spending money in my pocket at 19. I mean, we all would, but this is not the type of decision that I would be equipped to make at 19 years old. These are not the kinds of choices that I would have been comfortable making or would have wanted to ask myself to make. I would have screwed them up. I'm just being honest. Now, maybe everybody else in the world is better than me. I feel like I was a pretty average 19-year-old, average 20-year-old. I'm not thinking about the best decisions for my next 30 years when you're 19 or 20. I'm not trying to set myself up necessarily. I'm just trying to make a buck today. And we have turned a lot of the authority and a lot of the decision-making power over to teenagers, where the adults certainly weren't doing a good job of it. And you could go to numerous examples of that, right? Where the adults actually got us to this point because they would not lead, and they would not stop lying in their pockets, and they would not stop talking out of both sides of their mouths. But on the other hand, now they've given all authority to these young people who very much so need, they need direction. They need people in their ear telling them the right things. And maybe Caleb Williams has people in his ear telling him the right things for a reason, but this makes me feel icky. I don't love this at all.
One of the things that I don't like about it, and again, I believe that players should be able to freely move and transfer. I kind of fall into I have some caveats that go along with that. But it does feel like this is about NIL maybe more than anything else. And what can I get? And when the NIL was instituted, Qualk, you and I both know that it was put out there in front that this could not be used as a recruiting tool, right? You couldn't say to a kid, hey, if you come here, you can get this. I knew it would be insinuated, right? If you're the starting quarterback at Clemson and Trevor Lawrence had been up on some big Dodge dealership billboard, like you said, then you're the next quarterback. You're probably going to end up with your face there, and you just kind of understand that. This feels like, to me, though, Caleb Williams shopping himself around for the best value for himself, which I get it. We want, and people want these kids to benefit. But that was inherently said and stated that that was not going to be a part of what NIL was going to be.
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, if the NCAA weren't asleep at the wheel, then it might have been better. But they allowed the student athletes to dictate all the rules instead of allowing student athletes to benefit directly by things that they decided. And so now Pandora's box is opened. It's all over. And you know what? It's fine because the sport adapted. I saw Bill Conley wrote a thing on ESPN.com today where he basically was talking about how because of legislation and because of changes in the NCAA, it led to a restructuring that allowed Miami and Florida State to rise. And basically saying that these changes that we've seen the last year, 2 or 3, are going to allow new powers to rise. It's going to lead to a realignment and a redefinition of who the power programs are inside of college football. And again, we could have allowed it to happen at a better pace. We could have allowed it to happen under certain pretenses. We could have put, more parameters on the way things were going to be. Instead, the NCAA basically just said, you know what, we're going to keep fighting this, but you guys do whatever you want to do in the meantime. And they lost. And so now it is what it is. And it really is the same thing. It's not like players were never paid before. It's not like money hasn't been a part of athletics before. And it's also not like people didn't pick schools for reasons that had nothing to do with academics and winning a championship as a team. Get me to the NFL has been a recruiting pitch forever. Get me to an NIL deal, to me, comes from the same heart place and the same mind place and the same pocketbook place. It's just framed a little differently. So it might help some smaller schools and it might hurt some bigger ones. And we might see a realignment, and only time will tell. I'm a bit dejected by it, but I'm more frustrated that the people who were power brokers in college football that should have tried to make this a more seamless transition instead sort of plug their ears and close their eyes while this thing happened right around them. They had no idea.
William Qualkenbush is on Twitter at Qualt Talk. Okay, Qualk. So the difficult question for you on this run is this. When Dabo Swanny has been asked about the portal in the past, he would say something along the lines of, well, you know, we've got Will Shipley and Phil Moffitt. Did you want us to not get one of those guys, you know, and get a running back out of the portal? Caleb Williams, Qualk, I think most people would say, yeah, we want you to go try to get this guy. Do you think there would be an aggressive pursuit by Clemson for a guy like Caleb Williams? We know Cade Klubnik's coming in. We know you got DJ Uiagalelei, but is anybody going to question that, you know, matchup between Uiagalelei and Caleb Williams at this point? I would argue most fans would say, no, we want Williams from Oklahoma.
I think you're probably right, but there are a lot of fans too who would find themselves hating what it would make you, because right now what pursuing Caleb Williams makes you is you're in hunt for him. I mean, you're on the hunt for, I don't know, just hired hands. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. You're on the hunt for hired hands. Clemson's not going to do that. There are going to be some programs, and look, in the short term, obviously all these rule changes benefit programs that are willing to churn people out, that are willing to kick kids to the curb on scholarship, that are willing to do a lot of things that Clemson's not willing to do, and just get the best 85. It also benefits, and I won't say who is doing this because everybody bends the truth a little bit. It benefits liars, because you lie and you tell kids, yeah, I know we got 3-4 stars here, but none of them are any good. You're going to be the 5-star in the room. You're going to start. And they're telling the other kids, no, you're the next one up. And they basically, now you lie to kids to try to keep your whole room intact. So that's to a benefit. And again, that's not good for the sport. It's not good for young people. It's not good for the adults. It's not good for anybody, but that is what we're doing. And so there are a lot of programs who are going to tell Caleb Williams exactly what he wants to hear, and they're going to roll out the red carpet for him. And we'll see if it pays off. I'm going to say if that's the kind of person Caleb Williams is, then I'm going to go under 0.5 championships in his career, because you don't win championships if that's your motivator. You just don't.
Well, Qualk, listen, I know you're typically with us on a Monday. Thanks for carving us in on a Tuesday. And that means that next week, hopefully, if your schedule's open, we'll have you on to talk about a little preview of the college football playoff as the national championship next Monday night. Alabama and Georgia, a little rematch. Qualt, we'll talk to you then, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Swanny. Appreciate it, buddy.
William Qualkenbush again, 105.5 The Roar in the upstate Alabamas with Qualk and Kelly each and every afternoon from noon until 3 o'clock. With a quick break, we'll come back with more of the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports on a Tuesday afternoon as we get you home and ready for another evening of college football. One game on the docket tonight, the LSU Bayou Bengals and the Kansas City Wildcats, Kansas State Wildcats, 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN. We'll hit a quick break and come back with more of the show that shakes the Southland.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Look out for an accident on Rawl Road at Pisgah Church. Also a tie-up Hugie at Richland Street. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Hot and Buttery Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich. It's better breakfast o'clock at Wendy's because it all starts with a better biscuit. Get hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuits made with oven-baked bacon or savory sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese. So don't risk your biscuit. Get Wendy's instead. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's about time to crank up the old fireplace for warmth and for the holidays ahead. Tim's Gas Depot has an important message for those looking to install this year or for those that may be in need of service. Do not wait. Hurry. Like many industries, supply lines are thin, and experienced help is hard to find. Because Tim's Gas Depot services units as well as selling and installing them, they can use a little help too. Call now, and if you know someone that would like a rewarding career, call them sooner. Tim's Gas Depot on the Irmo side of Broad River Road. Search for them online at timsgasdepot.com.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Oh, tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon. Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and Ad Council.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
It is the show that shakes the Southland on a Tuesday afternoon. Again, thank you to William Qualkenbush for joining us a little bit. Different day, but still getting the same content for you. And you're talking about the Todd Bates thing. I mean, it still is really, really strange that this all took place. I mean, he got a raise recently, was promoted to assistant head coach, but I think the name has a lot to do with it. And I said that in an article over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com, put the .com on it. Doggone it. It is one of those things where you don't really hear the title assistant head coach even brought up when they talk about you. I mean, people are just going to still talk about him as, as the defensive tackles coach, as the interior defensive line coach. People aren't going to talk about him as the recruiting coordinator, maybe a little bit, but for the most part, nobody brings up the assistant head coach title. Here's Dabo Swanny back in December on the 14th. You can watch this full press conference over on our YouTube channel, tinyurl.com/Clemson Sports TV. Here's Dabo Swanny talking about maneuvering Todd Bates to a new position.
Coach Bates, I'm losing a lot in Tony Elliott. Tony was more than just a coordinator. Tony was an assistant head coach for me, and truly, in every sense of the word, assistant head coach. And a lot of collaboration, a lot of communication, a lot of discussion, from a head coach standpoint. And that's what Todd Bates brings. Todd Bates is going to be he's a future head coach and going to be a great head coach. He's one of those guys that he's special. He's got that gift. He's got that gift. He's got that whatever that is that you have to have, I think, to be a head coach. Todd Bates exemplifies every single thing you could possibly want. He's got a great understanding of the game. He's young. He's just gets it on all levels. So, him moving into a leadership role is going to really help me, and lean on him from a lot of head coach things, and again, collaboration and discussion. So I'm excited about Todd being able to step in that role, and what an unbelievable job he has done, and somebody I have a lot of just so much trust in his opinion in everything. He's also our recruiting coordinator, so just more responsibility for him, and again, he'll be a head coach sooner than later one of these days, no doubt about it to me.
And so with that, you have to wonder again if that's the reason behind Todd Bates's move to go out to Oklahoma, the feeling that this opens up the opportunity to be a defensive coordinator, a co-defensive coordinator, but to have that coordinator tag put on you to go advance your career to the next level and be a head coach. And I would argue that it does, more so than being an assistant head coach. I mean, I really believe that. If you think about the placement of individuals from Dabo Swinney's program into head coaching positions, all of them have been coordinators. Every one of them. Whether it's Tony Elliott, Jeff Scott, whether it's Brent Venables or Chad Morris, coordinator. And the assistant head coach tag does not get that type of recognition, in my opinion. Now, I do think the question becomes, and it is a multifaceted and incredibly interesting discussion. If Todd Bates, and this is what I was saying with William Qualkenbush a few minutes ago, if Todd Bates is named co-defensive coordinator with, say, Mike Reed, right? Does Mickey Kahn leave the program? I doubt it. Does Wes Goodwin accept the job of being Clemson's linebackers coach? Maybe. But the only thing that you know is that if Brent Venables was truly pursuing him, or the thing that you think you know, if Brent Venables was truly pursuing Wes Goodwin because he believes in him so much, and if the title might have been defensive coordinator at Oklahoma for Wes Goodwin because Venables believes in him so much, then Dabo Swinney's decision to put Wes Goodwin in that spot, if you will, as the defensive coordinator, and with the co-defensive coordinator tag being thrown on Mickey Kahn, has to come down to the belief that no matter how much Dabo Swinney talks about what he loves about Coach Bates and what Coach Bates can do this and that and the other, the reality is he must believe that Wes Goodwin is more astute when it comes down to game day evaluation and play calling. I mean, how else do you explain sticking a guy like Wes Goodwin in the position of defensive coordinator over guys like Mike Reed, like Todd Bates? I mean, that's the thing. It's essentially you surpass these individuals with a guy that has never been on the sidelines to really do the job that way before. And that's where I think for Todd Bates, it probably stuck in his craw a little bit. And it would be the same for you at your job. I mean, imagine, if you will, that at your job, you got a nice job, and, well, one of the big executives is going off to start his own company or to work somewhere else at another big company. And you're one of the people right on that next level, right? Man, you're a natural fit for this job, Roy. Thank you. I think I can handle it. And the next thing you know, they bump Tim from accounting up past you. Tim from accounting? Well, yeah, I mean, he just feels like he's got the right managerial style. There's a lot of trust there. And and the head man thinks he can do a great job. How many of you, I don't care if you do get a $200,000 raise up to $715,000. I mean, that is a substantial bump. Let me just say, as much as you guys love this show, tomorrow, if anybody calls me, probably to do any job at $715,000, the sign-off you hear today will be my last. I mean, I love you, but I'll go do that job for a year or two and make a heck of a lot more money. So, again, I can see it from Todd Bates' perspective, if that is indeed the situation. You feel like Tim from accounting got the big promotion over the top of everybody that was on that sort of next level, that level that typically steps into coordinator roles. 803-450-0086. Stay with us.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced clean of Zero Res. Take advantage of their New Year's sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention this station, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home to get cash out for college, a renovation, or to pay off debt? The last thing you want to do is pay thousands of dollars in unnecessary closing costs just to access the equity in your home. After all, you have plans for that money. Cap your closing costs with Cap Center, your local South Carolina lender.
We just helped a client who was a professional chef finance the remodeling of his dream kitchen. By avoiding typical closing costs, he had even more money to put towards the premium quality he had hoped for. So the cash out refinance has been a win-win-win for him. We were able to get his rate down. He's using the cash for something he is passionate about, and the money is actually going back into his home.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Chris Collinsworth. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings.
Big Ben's final farewell in Pittsburgh ended with an emotional win over the Browns, but sadly, Ben's career feels a little empty to me, wasted. He lived off his talent, size, arm strength. Didn't take care of himself, though, the way Brady and Rodgers have in the offseason or the season. Football evolved and got smarter. Ben really didn't, and now Big Ben is done, while the other older star quarterbacks keep rolling. I'm Colin Cowherd.
Download the DraftKings app and use code SPORTS to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. DraftKings.com for details.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind and body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated with dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
We need you to help the Federation Center of the Blind continue its life-changing mission of opening more doors to blind South Carolinians. Please call us at 803-254-3777 or email nfbsc@sc.rr.com to see how you can volunteer or make a donation.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things, like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, serving Columbia at 1400 and the world on the iHeartRadio app.
Clemson Sports Talk on a Tuesday. So if the heat wasn't on already for DJ Uiagalelei with the footsteps of Westlake High School's Cade Klubnik arriving up in Tiger Town, which, by the way, I tweeted out over the weekend. You know, my nightmare scenario is interviewing Cole Kublik about Cade Klubnik, and I'm only allowed to use their full names the entire time. Like, that to me is a broadcaster's nightmare. As a matter of fact, just doing it there is tough. I mean, that's it. That should be one of those tongue twisters. Cade Klubnik, Cole Kublik. Cade Klubnik, you can't do it. You cannot do it. Listen, if you can do it 5 times in a row without messing up, 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Call us, leave us a message. I'll play it on the air. Cade, I can't even do it. Cade Klubnik, Cole Kublik. Cade Klubnik, Cole Kublik. It's like an awful tongue twister. All right. And I came up with that, by the way. So 6,000 points to me and 3,000 anybody that can actually do it 5 times in a row without having any visible issue. Well, Cade Klubnik became the 5th quarterback from the state of Texas to be named Max Prep's National Football Player of the Year, and the first since Kyler Murray. With that being said, again, the heat is on. The heat is on when it comes down to DJ Uiagalelei and the Clemson Tiger offense at quarterback. And again, if you check the tapes, you rewind the podcast, you go check out what I said. I have been on the record saying I did not think, this was probably a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, whenever it was, that Cade Klubnik would come in and be able to push and challenge DJ and beat him out. I should make that clear. That when I talked about it, I meant like beat him out for the starting spot. But after watching the bowl game, I just, DJ had a month to heal up. Looks very slow still in the pocket. And the only thing I can imagine, his knee is worse than we think. His finger is worse than we think. Doesn't seem to throw with the same, with the same speed, and the ball just doesn't look as good coming out. A lot of floated balls thrown away. If we're going into the fall camp or fall next year, kickoff of the first game, and Cade Klubnik getting starting, January 4th, 2022, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. And again, so much of this comes back to DJ more than maybe anything else. He has to get better between his ears. The 6 inches between his ears are the most significant to his journey collegiately, maybe even professionally, that he'll ever deal with. And if he can figure out how to get right between his ears, gain that confidence, and look, Dabo Swanny and the players, I talked about the other day when Swanny and Mario Goodrich are on the podium talking about DJ, and Mario Goodrich is just a nodding and agreeing about what a leader this kid is. And I don't think I don't think most people want to embrace or buy into, knocking a kid down for their mistakes. But man, it is really hard to watch DJ play right now because of the speed in which he plays, because of the lack of accuracy that he has. It's just one thing after the other, and it just kind of, in some respects, feels like it's compounded on top of itself. And I can't honestly think that at this point, with spring ball right around the corner and DJ's mental state, if you will, at least from this observer's perspective, being what it is, I can't imagine that he doesn't get pressed hard by Cade Klubnik. And if Cade Klubnik is the starter at the beginning of next season, it's hard not to feel like after the bowl game or at some point during the bowl game, my mentality didn't shift to, DJ's in more trouble than I thought. Now, look, there were tremendous issues at wideout this year for Clemson. I mean, when Will Swanny starts the final 3 games of the year, that tells you all you need to know about Clemson's depth at wide receiver. But DJ's issues to me were bigger than that. Was that a part of it? Yeah. But was it the most significant? I'm not certain. I don't think so, quite frankly. As I said before, I think DJ's lack of poise, his poor decision-making, how slow he is with his knee, and even now I've added in the fact that he doesn't seem to throw the ball as well as he did a year ago. And, maybe there was something to that old take about DJ's mechanics by Trent Dilfer that blew up this past year, talking about the mechanics of Trevor Lawrence and how they got worse. I mean, how he got worse during his time at Clemson. Maybe there's something to that. But man alive, if you've watched Clemson this year, DJ's got to be sweating bullets with the National Player of the Year, Cade Klubnik, coming in to challenge for the top spot in the Clemson Tiger offense. And quite frankly, Klubnik is quite elusive, quick. You look at the ball players, if you will, right now, collegiately, professionally at quarterback. I mean, it's trending towards that smaller, more elusive guy who can make a play when the pocket breaks down. Look no further than the 2 quarterbacks in the national championship game. Bryce Young, who fits the description, the Heisman Trophy winner, all the accolades. And then the underrated Stetson Bennett. Also small, yet elusive. And look, I wouldn't classify Cade Klubnik as small, but his frame presents a more athletic frame than DJ Uiagalelei's, whose frame presents more of a bruiser, more of a Ben Roethlisberger type quarterback, if you will. Final segment of the day coming up. I am going to give you a crazy stat you're not going to believe. Stick with us.
If your New Year's resolution is to spend more quality time with your partner, don't let ED get in the way. The professional erectile dysfunction specialists at Peak Performance for Men know that a new year means a new you, and they're ready to help. 90% of male performance issues are caused by old, broken down blood vessels, which affects blood flow. Peak Performance for Men treats this problem using focused linear compression therapy, an FDA-cleared medical device. Our focused linear compression therapy is a scientifically proven, minimally invasive procedure that uses pulsed energy waves to open and repair aging blood vessels. This increases blood flow, stimulates stem cell growth, and greatly improves male performance. With Peak Performance for Men, there are no medications, no surgery, and no side effects. Over 80% of men who receive the treatment experience long-term improvement. Call now to receive your free consultation and free medical ultrasound at 803-302-8181. Schedule now at 803-302-8181.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place, just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenics makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenics? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a legit product. The key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves? cells?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text FORCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenix samples are not available in stores, so text FORCE to 42424 right now. Text FORCE to 42424. That's FORCE to 42424.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Marianne with Absolute Glass.
We would like to thank Lexington for voting us Best Glass Shop in Lexington for 10 years in a row.
Absolute Glass specializes in high-end auto glass replacement and repair.
We also do home windows,
patio doors,
tabletops,
shower doors,
mirrors,
storefronts,
and decorative glass.
Find us online at absoluteglassinc.com.
And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Tuesday afternoon. Again, apologize Friday. I totally forgot we were off the air on Monday. Didn't even mention it. Like, didn't give my dad even texted me. Like, anytime. And that's the funny thing about radio is, for the most part, if you are, it's your final, if they come in and say, hey man, it's your final show, it tends to happen after your show, and you don't get that other chance to go back on the air and thank your audience. That's just not how it works. But not most of the time. I think occasionally it might, if you get, taken up, to the next level or whatever, you go up and now you're at Sirius XM, or maybe you go up and you're at ESPN Radio or Fox Sports Radio, one of the national things. I mean, maybe in that scenario, you don't get the heave-ho, but so anytime I'm not on the air and I didn't warn you, I feel bad. So I know when my dad called me yesterday, right after the show's supposed to come on, I know he was thinking, uh-oh, that could be it. But no, we're doing great. But thank you all for your participation throughout 2021, and looking forward to a great year here with you in 2022. One quick note I do have to say about like normal life here at the Swan household. I think I've told you guys this before, but I am part of an elite group of Fortnite players known as the Old Man Squad. And we do play every once in a while. And by every once in a while, I mean maybe a couple of nights a week. We jump on and play, some more than others. And I've definitely scaled that back just a bit as of late. All that being said, I think in terms of the old man squad, I am officially turned into the actual old man because I guess it was over the weekend. Maybe it was, I don't know, maybe over one of the days over Christmas break where we had the holidays and all that. I got to tell you, I had messages coming through, and I don't get them. I mean, I get you. When you guys text and stuff, I get them. And I get these, but they don't, like, alert me, at, like, 3:05 in the morning. Like, what is the old man squad doing? Go to bed, guys. I'm over there under my new weighted blanket that I got for Christmas. Yeah, I'm sleeping great now. Yes, indeed. But, yeah, they're 3 in the morning. Sheesh. All right, so final thing for you here. I know you don't want to hear about all my Fortnite escapades. You know what else about those guys, though? You all appreciate my singing. I mean, if I go into a little show tune jingle, I see you bebopping in the car. I know you're getting down with me. They don't even let me sing. And my wife doesn't let me dance in the grocery store. I mean, if you can't sing with your Fortnite squad or dance in the grocery store, am I really living? Is this real life? Final thing for you, and I think it is a shocking number. I wish I had done a better job of teasing it. But legendary Clemson SID, Tim Bray, who joins us every Thursday afternoon. And I tend to keep up with this. For a while, I really kept up with it because Clemson was always cruising along, being one of the most successful teams in recent years in college football. But there is a website called Winspedia.com. Winspedia.com. And Winspedia tells you which teams have like the longest streaks, which it's got all kind of matchup information. It's like the college football database of all-time records. I think that's what they call it. That's their catchphrase. Get this, because I think this is going to shock a lot of people. If Georgia beats Alabama in the national championship, and the Bulldogs, by the way, are favored in this game. If the Bulldogs beat Georgia, if the Bulldogs beat Alabama in the national championship, Clemson will have the longest winning streak of any Power 5 team in the country. The only team with a longer streak at that point would be the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. Alabama currently has an 8-game winning streak dating back to their loss to A&M. Clemson sitting there with a 6-game winning streak ahead of Baylor, ahead of Kentucky. When you talk about the Power 5, Clemson has a chance to have the longest winning streak in Power 5 football entering the 2022 season if the Bulldogs beat the Alabama Crimson Tide on Monday night. How about that? Shocking statistic from Tim Bray. 803-450-0086. That is the text line. That is the phone line. It is 24 hours a day. It is 7 days a week. It is the show that shakes the Southland. It is live from 4 to 6 p.m. each and every afternoon. It is your favorite website to go to. Put the .com on it. Doggone it. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. We got to get out of here until tomorrow. As always, y'all take care now. And go
Clemson
Tigers!
Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Look out for an accident on Rawl Road at Pisgah Church. Also a tie-up Hugie at Richland Street. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Metro.